Hi, everybody. Karen Roby here, talking with Greg Nichols for ZDNet about one of the areas within robotics that's experiencing tremendous growth. This is in shelf scanning robots. And Greg, a good place to start here, I think, would be just to give us a refresher of what shelf scanning robots are.
Yeah, thanks, Karen. So though they're pretty new to market, they're not yet super widely distributed. Shelf scanning robots are definitely going to become a common sight in physical retail locations within the next couple of years. At a really basic level, the robots roam stores and really quickly scan merchandise on shelves using machine vision or RFID readers, depending on the kind of robot you're talking about. And they help retailers keep track of inventory more efficiently than just employees with the classic scanning guns that go down the aisle. And the real advantage of these robots is, of course, in the data they collect. Like so much of technology these days, it's all about the data. By analyzing really massive amounts of data, such as item popularity at a given time of day or in a given shelf location, retailers can gain these really granular, almost e-commerce level insights into customer behavior and product trends. And analytics like that definitely helped e-commerce topple a lot of brick and mortar giants. So shelf scanning robots are kind of one way physical retailers are hoping to level the playing field and fight back with the same kind of analytics. Walmart, for example, is the largest chain in the world, physical chain, and they recently partnered with California-based Bossa Nova, a robotics company, to bring their shelf scanning robots, Bossa Novas, to many of the stores, about a couple hundred stores of Walmart's, which I believe you spoke with our colleague Charlie Osborne about recently. And Bossa Nova is definitely the leader in this field right now. They've raised more than $100 million, but there's other firms out there. Simbi is one of them. Arguably, it's the number 2 player. It's playing catch up fast, and it has some new funding to really expand its dominion in the shelf scanning game.
It's really fascinating, Greg, to think about, and I'm sure even a year, 2 years from now, it will be just commonplace for us to see these robots, operating within the stores. But it's fascinating to think about what they'll look like and how they'll go about doing their business. So when you talk about Simbi, though, go back to that, they raised the money for this. How much did they raise? Do we know? And what do they plan to do with that money?
Yeah, so they just pulled down 26 million in Series A, which still doesn't catch up to Bossa Nova's 100 million, but it's a nice chunk of change. The company Simbi also added substantial inventory financing from SoftBank Robotics, which is a pretty key player in the robotics industry. So that's a great partner for them. That unique blend, that equity and inventory financing, it definitely points to the swift rise of these kinds of scanning robots. And it's just a category that was, again, like you're saying, almost unheard of a couple years ago, but it's going to be very commonplace very soon. And again, it comes down to the data. So combined with these powerful analytics tools, the data these robots collect is meant to increase efficiency by solving for, and this is a quote I got, the $1.7 trillion ghost economy, which is defined by out of stock items, inaccurate price execution, lack of product location optimization, really across brick and mortar industries writ large. So everything from bookstores to grocery stores. So with up-to-date inventory information, managers that are using robots like Bossa Novas or like Simbi's, and Simbi's robot is called Tally, they can enact faster operational decisions at the store level, as well as kind of be more nimble with their inventory management. So just to hang a lantern on this, the problem of poor stock management, it's so pervasive in physical retail that inventory mishaps, these things that are perfectly preventable, account for more lost revenue than theft, which I thought was pretty fascinating.
Yeah, that's wild to think, because of human error, I assume for the most part that's, unfortunately what they have to deal with. So it's obvious why there would be such growth in this market. And, you mentioned the 2 companies that are here. Is that all that is available? Is that all that's involved in this? Or are there other companies, will be fighting for business in this space?
Yeah, good question for sure. It's definitely really early in the cycle of this sector to kind of determine who's going to last and who's going to be around in a few years. But it's definitely a space that's going to get more crowded, not less crowded. It's also a space where you're going to see, I think, some really cool innovation. And there's a great example of this that I found, a company called Pensa, which I've written about, it actually makes a drone that buzzes around overhead and scans shelves. And it can do that after the store is closed or even when customers are in the store. And Pensa, what they're claiming one advantage of drones is that they're much less expensive to customize and deploy than these autonomous mobile robots that are ground-based. They utilize these cages that are really kind of cool. They have these almost like shark diving cages, like a diver, that protect the propellers. They can go around the store apparently safely, and they can scan shelves. And another advantage, of course, the drones is the speed. The UAVs can whip around the store much faster than the ground robots. So they're using this machine vision to sort of accurately pinpoint different shelf scans. That company is based in Austin, and they're claiming that they can identify out-of-stock items 98% of the time with their overhead drone. So to answer your question, no, it's definitely not a two-person or a two-company race. There's a lot of companies involved right now, and we're going to see a lot more competition emerging, I think.
Yeah, I would think definitely. And when you think about the robots, deploying them, is it just a matter of putting them into use, or is there other infrastructure that needs to be built to accommodate them?
It's definitely more of a plug and play situation. And that's really, technology has really enabled this. These robots, technology advancements, I should say, in the robotics sector have enabled this whole space to emerge. So autonomous mobile robots in the last couple of years have come a long way. And it's that autonomy component which is really being put through its paces in these crowded, sort of semi-structured environments of a physical store. And that level of autonomy, being able to navigate the aisles and avoid people and kind of shut down immediately if there's any contact with people, is what's enabling these to be sort of just dropped into new spaces to start their work. The one area where infrastructure becomes an issue is the network. Right now, many of these robots draw on local networks, which can definitely strain bandwidth. Stores also use their network, of course, for like checkout and for lots of other things. So one potential issue is that adding these robots to an existing network could crash the network, could slow things down. One of the big changes coming down the line is 5G, of course, and that increased cellular network speed is really going to be, I think, a boon for these types of robots, and it should unleash a lot of new competition in the space. That's my prediction. As a matter of fact, there's a company I interviewed called Badger Technologies, which right now is working with AT&T to test their robots with AT&T's 5G network prior to this massive rollout that Badger is planning. So yeah, definitely lots coming down the line.
All right, always fascinating, Greg, when we're talking about robots and what's to come. If you want to read Greg's full article, make sure you check out ZDNet. Thanks for watching.